DJ Dove, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's good. We're at middle
Yeah.
of fantasy playoffs, and school just ended, so I got some really good fantasy time to focus. Christmas is
Chri-
up. Here we
It's like
go.
Christmas is coming early, huh?
Yeah, it is. I got a busy weekend coming up with fantasy.
That's good. Yeah. So brought you on today, just kind of our new thing we're trying called Commissioner's Corner, where we just kind of sit down and chat and a little fireside chat with some of the teams. And yeah, so just kind of get to know you a little bit more, check in on your teams. So you already hit the elephant in the room and that you made the playoffs. So welcome to the playoffs, sir. How's it going so far?
First week felt good. This week I'm nervous. We were supposed to record before the Thursday night game, which I would have felt a lot more confident. But my Denver defense, man, those Chargers decided to play football, and then that super long kick. It let me down. I don't expect a lot generally. We have Cortland Sutton, but I need some guys to show up. Some of my studs got to play like a stud this week, or else me and JJ Wang, we are gonna be just top 4 out of 64. That's all we can do. I mean, that'd be a letdown. I mean, if you remember our show, we said there's only one goal we have this year.
Yep.
We were brazen.
Yep. And look, you so far you've hit the mark. So we'll see how that continues because you got some pretty stiff competition on the other side of the ball this year or this week.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so you were top two in Division 4. So that is the Monarchs. So overall, how do you feel your first season of Fantasy Turf War is gone, and what was the experience like for you?
It was good. I mean, we do all this for fun. We're out to basically. I was telling you before we got on here. Our goal is me and my buddy Jason JJ Wang is just we get on do a podcast once a week. If 3 people listen to it, if 7,000 people, whatever, it's just for us to keep our friendship going from when we were kids and hang out and just shoot the breeze with each other and with somebody about fantasy that talks fantasy because I'm an elementary school teacher. Not a lot of people in the talk fantasy. I got a couple. I got a buddy I'll talk to now. And I'm helping to get him. He's a young guy learning fantasy, but it allows us just to be able to shoot the breeze with somebody and just have fun. And that's my goal of fantasy. I learned that about a decade ago. I took it too seriously, and it would just ruin my day, to wreck my day. And now I'm like, this is a game of fun. I'm getting
Yeah.
to meet guys like you. I've got buddies in Indiana through this that I've connected with that I'm in their league. I do a dynasty league with these dudes who I've never met, but I'll text them and message them through fantasy. It's just a fun way to network with people. And it's been a blast.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I think the first year of anything new you do is it's always interesting, right? And so this league is no exception. We had some bumps and hurdles that we went through that we don't have to necessarily bring up, but we first 4 weeks were a little rough, but the rest of it wasn't so bad. Um, but it is what it is, and I think you hit it right. Is that you have to remember at the end of the day, this is for fun. Um, you know, you're online, we play this online, and you have absolutely zero influence on how the actual athlete is going to do on Sunday unless
Nope.
you by some reason know the player. And even then I would dare say you probably don't know your entire team on a personal level. And so it's like at the end of the day it's just people hanging out having fun. And that's what we had to remember to in this first season when we had some struggles is like we're just here to have fun and hang out and do it together, and that's what we came to do. And here we are in the playoffs. So no one gave up, and we pushed through. So it's fun. And then you actually brought a couple of teams to the league. So you have, I believe, Julius, right, from Team Excitement, and Pastor Jack. And so
Which
you
led to
guys
Bevskins. I played with Bevskins too.
and Bevskins,
The
yeah, that's
Pillars,
right.
yeah.
So 4 teams, so including yourself. So you guys bring quite a community with you, and you guys are pretty competitive. Strange Brew, Pastor Jack, he won his division, and you
Mhm.
won your division. So that's some good competition right there. Although he got pretty rudely tossed out in the first week of the playoffs, which I'm notorious for. Which is the only reason I'm laughing. Not laughing at him. I'm laughing
I've
because
been
it
there, done
happens to me
that.
every year. So except for this year because I didn't make the playoffs in any of my teams again. So, he at least made the playoffs. And it's interesting because the divisions, it's only top two out of
Mhm.
16 team divisions. So it is not easy to make the playoffs. So that's celebrated on its own. And then for you to make, you guys made the semis, that's tough. It's definitely not an easy thing to do. So, kudos to you and JJ Wang for getting this far. who knows what the next week will look like. It's fantasy football. You could be the number one team one week and the worst the next week. You just never know. But it keeps it fun.
Luckily, Alvin Kamara doesn't play on Christmas Day this year. That killed me. Like, I had the best team in the world just roll in the league, and then all of a sudden, what was it, 5? Like, the dude, his team was terrible, and he just murdered one of my favorite teams of all time with Alvin Kamara's Christmas Day.
Yeah, I think he either kicked me out of the playoffs or prevented me from making the playoffs because of that game. So I forget which one. It could be both. Well, to be honest, it's probably both. So, but yeah. So you won your trophy for your division, which is a giant wrestling belt, which is going to be completely customized, and it's almost done. But that'll be headed your way, and then Pastor Jack has a big trophy from Trophy Smack on the way to him as well. So some nice bling to go on the shelves for the year.
Well,
so
we do a live draft together in August, so we'll probably both have to sport it. Maybe we'll take a picture and throw it up.
That would be awesome. Or even if we hop on a call, I'd love to watch you guys, duke it out on the draft.
They had someone come do a live national anthem at their draft last year.
Look, I back in my military days, there may or may not be some YouTube videos. I used to sing the national anthem pretty regularly in the military. So if you need a guy, let me know. Because you guys aren't that far, right? You guys are
north, yeah.
Yeah. So
we're 30 minutes out of DC. So from Charlotte, about 4 hours.
I'm out of Raleigh, so we're even closer.
So Raleigh from here is about 4.5. My brother was in Raleigh for years.
There you go. So might have to make something happen there, but
that'd be awesome.
I'll look. Maybe we do it, and I hand you the trophy in person.
Ooh,
that would be cool.
It's Sunday of Labor Day weekend. So
okay, all right. I'll have to see because I know we got our own drafts too, so I'm gonna write that down. All right, I got that written down. I'm gonna follow up on that one. I'm gonna have to make that a thing. Look. Two of the division leaders in one spot. I don't know how often that's going to happen. It's like the Infinity Stones, you just don't know. So yeah, those are headed your guys' way, and then we got to get the other ones out too. So who knows? Maybe you'll have the one-of-one custom Trophy Smack ring to go with the trophy. We'll see. That would be nice. It's been sitting next to my other rings this year, and I'm pretty sure that's why I don't have a new ring this year for my championships. So
I've got a thank God Kyler Murray's playing Carolina. Too bad it's gonna be how cold is it down there? Like I hear it's freezing.
It's not. Yesterday it was like in the 60s.
What was the joke about him saying it was really cold or something?
It was like 28 this morning, but then as soon as the sun comes out, it's back to like 40, 50 degrees.
Okay, 1 o'clock game. We're good then. Just run, Kyler. Run. Carolina, don't play like that team from a month ago. Play like last week.
Play like the team you did all the way up until a month ago.
Yeah, they were so.
God, it's horrible. So what's new in your world? You mentioned that you guys are on winter break now. So how's the teaching going, and how's the show been going?
No, it's been good. Like during season, we got just a routine, and I don't know if our routine becomes a rut to a point, but during the season we basically watch games, and then Sunday night, like right at the end of as the series of the day games go, and we do our show Sunday night. And we usually, so we're having to, I think I was thinking that before we were starting to talk, I was like, we got to look next year. We're probably going to do some reevaluating how we organize, because we used to do 2 shows a week during the season. We would do a what happened and then a what next show. And I started the what next show, but our kids are of that age. His girl is a sophomore in high school. I've got a freshman in high school and a 6th grader, and our kids are driving all over creation. So coordinating that and having time, like, that's been the hardest thing, because we aren't like some of the people here. They have the blessing of doing this for a living, and we get on Zoom, record each other, shoot the breeze, pop it up, and I hope I get time in a week to do rankings and maybe even write an article or write a blurb in Fantasy Prayers, which I haven't done as much as I want to. So it's been busy life. Still loving football and just screaming at my Dolphins, but I mean, Raiders fan, it's worse. It could be worse, right?
Oh, it could be much, much worse. We still, like, all the injuries, and we still don't even know who our quarterback is this week. So it tells you what you need there. But it looks like my camera froze.
I was going to say, was that me or was that you?
It's probably me.
Am I better moving?
You're moving. You're totally fine.
Usually I freeze on Jason. Like, it turned out it was on my side, but should fix it. We just gotta
There we
We
go.
got a new computer. I got a new computer over from Best Buy. I haven't got it a month ago, and I still haven't unpacked it. That's how busy we've been. It's just like, what is going
You
on?
didn't
Like
get to open the new toy yet?
no,
Man.
and I got it just for podcasting. So I got the new computer because it'll processing the video just takes so long sometimes to
Yeah.
upload. Like I'm so archaic. I will never tell anybody. I've told a couple people, and they're like, "That's how you do your podcasts." And I do 2 podcasts. They're like, "Wow." I said, "Doesn't sound any different." So it works.
Hey, if it works, make it as efficient as possible, but keep it the same architecture, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel if you don't have to.
Or I don't want to learn how to fix a hybrid car. I'll still work on an old like 1950s engine or a bicycle.
Yeah.
That's how.
Learning curves, man. That's a real pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Especially these days when like there's a new AI every other week and some other platform to stream on, and it's like it's just a lot.
Yeah.
So do what works, do what you know works, and keep it running. You know. So yeah. But let's see, where was I going with that?
Podcast.
Yeah. So with the kiddos, yeah, I totally get it. It's a logistics nightmare. And priorities, right? And we've got to remember this is for fun. And so, yeah, it's, for even myself, this is not my full-time job. It's a really good side job. But it still takes up a lot of time. But I got to remember at the end of the day, the priority is my kids. So I got to take care of, the home front first, and this comes second. So, but we all keep that in mind, and hopefully we still have some fun along the way.
Yeah, that's been our goal. We even start our shows. Some of them going, "Hey, sorry, we didn't get much this week because his kid was there. His kid was there." Like he's had some days where his understanding of Sunday football, because his kid had travel soccer, is what he saw on his phone when he was listening in the car on the way back. Like, it's been that kind of a year for him, and in 3 years, he'll be like, "Oh man, my daughter's gone." So it's just savoring those moments, which is so important. We know there's gonna be those weeks where Kirk Cousins throws 17 interceptions, or you lose a point and a half because Justin Herbert goes 17 yards back. It's
I say someone's gonna lose because of that. Just saying, someone is gonna lose, and you're never gonna hear the end of it. So,
and it's not gonna be me because I got 0 Justin Herbert, 0.
So we were actually pulling some of the stuff as like pre-show for next week, and like the list of players that are not on any of the playoff teams is pretty remarkable.
Really?
So like there's no one in the fantasy playoffs in fantasy turf war has Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Saquon Barkley, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Travis Kelce, or Mark Andrews. It's like, so some of those big names not on a single one of the playoff teams.
And I get the quarterbacks because if it's a 1 quarterback league, if you draft that quarterback early, you're missing out on a skill position player. Whereas Kyler Murray, I think we got in the 6th or 7th round because he runs and he passes. And that was the idea. Like he hasn't been great this year, but having, somebody like that's weird about the Saquon thing though. That to me is the most shocking.
Yeah, it was surprising. I was like, holy crap. I was like, usually there's some consistency. There's a little bit of overlaps with the teams. We've never had. Yeah.
We're both Tyrone Tracy and Josh
never
Jacobs.
had exact duplicate teams before. Like, yes, it is possible. It's never happened. But yeah, it's always interesting to see what team actually makes the playoffs and makes it to the finals. But there's no Saquon. Like, number 1 running back, no Saquon.
That's weird.
What's also funny is that no one who drafted Christian McCaffrey, I think, is also in the playoffs. So there's that.
I have a really good team with Christian McCaffrey, and then I went Jordan Mason. I got him prior to the season, ran him, and now I will thank God for Chuba Hubbard.
Yep.
He filled in that.
How many times do you say that?
Like that's what happened, and then Brooks went down. Like I felt bad. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. You're good. Thank you."
Yeah, right. Yeah, you never want them to get hurt, but you could like mildly get hurt in a way that you just don't have to play, but not be too serious. Like that'd be great.
Or just Deontay Johnson it and just give up, or that guy from the 49ers, the linebacker. Like I'm not going to play anymore.
Yeah, I think my high school coach would have had some words if I had done that back when I was playing. Yeah, I think in anything in life, if I just walk off the field in the middle of the game, metaphorically speaking, I think some strong words are coming along with that. So
you would hope.
I hope. Hopefully someone's looking out for that guy.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
Yeah. So how does this league? So this is the first year we've done it where 64 teams in a social media online capacity, like where it's been out like this. How is this? And honest feedback. Like you're not going to hurt my feelings. I've heard plenty of good and bad things throughout the season. So how does this league stack up to some of the other ones you've been in throughout time in terms of the actual league, the competition, like all of it? Not to put you on the
Well,
spot.
I'm in way too many leagues. I don't know if I told you, like I have 12 teams somehow or another. So
Ouch.
it's yeah, and it's interesting. I miss the old because getting older, people are farther away. So it's a good
Yeah.
thing to have. Like I got a buddy in Alaska who I do a bunch of leagues with, and that's how we keep in touch. So I got the Indian. So in some leagues, there's not as much communication. Like so, I think that's the hard thing here. And you and I are talking about. You're talking about like for the future, trying to create
Yeah.
that communication. So like I've kept up with Jeff throughout the year, some through downfield read a little bit, like messaging back and forth. And we had the Gridiron Goddess on, and she was a blast. I haven't kept in touch with her like I should, but she was fun. She's a super cool cat. And
Yeah.
but yeah, that's the only thing. Like, but that's not this league. It's in general a lot of leagues. There's not as much communication as there used to be, and I think that's the world. Like
Yeah.
if somebody's texting them, or I talk to my kids, like so. But I mean, as far as the competition, our league seemed to have the competition in there, but I don't know. I just got beating everybody. So what can we do? We I did not realize our team was this good when we drafted, and we were just sort of. I drafted CD Lamb because that's JD Wang's favorite player right now. He's a defunct Cowboys fan, and I love Nico. And then we went through, and we just sort of he's not a fan of going receiver strong, and this wasn't the year to do it. And luckily, he
Yeah.
convinced me to get Jacobs on the wraparound. But I mean,
Worked out for you. That's for
half of
sure.
it's luck too. I mean,
Some of
I
it.
was on
Yeah.
the Tyrone. I was touting the horn for Tyrone Tracy since probably before it was cool. He was because I was reading like his broken tackle rates and things in college were like top 3, and just seeing where he was coming, he's falling in Devin Singletary. Come on, so that made it really obvious the Giants are going to be terrible and terrible teams. Steven Jackson could have a great running back,
Yeah.
and so that could be the saving grace on there because I thought Ramondre would be good. Boy,
Yeah.
so half of it's there's some luck in there, and with 16 teams, your bench is terrible anyway, so you need those starters to. But
Yep.
yeah, no, the league itself, I do it as I think we said earlier. I did it for fun. I'm in here. I had fun. No, if we'd have won 2-13, I'd be like, cool, Corey, what you need for next year to help you guys out? Like that's our, we're trying to, help other people like fantasy and stuff.
Yeah. When you say 2-13, I'm thinking, well, that's league punishment territory. I'm like, there's plenty of things we can have you do. So
Yeah, poor Julius. What did he do?
actually, I don't think he
Didn't get
he
it.
did not lose his division, did he?
I thought he was last. Maybe he wasn't. I thought he was
I have to
last.
go.
He's in my
I'll
division.
have to
I
go
got
double check.
let's see.
Division 4, I believe, is. I'm gonna have to go look.
See, I can't find the rankings here. Where'd it go? I got too many screens up.
I'll pull it up here. Let me look. Now I don't know. Man, you put me on the spot. Usually I have all this stuff.
Oh, here I
I
got
have all the
league.
names figured out and memorized by now, and I forgot.
Have you? Let's see. Did he end up? Oh no, he didn't. The Cleveland Thunderbolts
That's
jumped
right.
out for him.
Yep, they
Good.
were
I
one of
felt bad.
the teams that replaced one of the ghosting, so they're actually exempt from league punishment.
So does that make him the Punisher?
No, because that wouldn't be fair. Because he didn't lose, and I wouldn't want to punish a guy who didn't actually lose. That wouldn't be nice.
He's a really good dude. I felt bad.
Yeah.
I think
So we should punish him, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, we won't do
Punishment is
that.
he's a Patriots fan, so
Oh well,
Now,
that's punishment enough these days.
yeah, it was great for my entire adult life, but it's,
Wonder how he feels about Belichick coming out this way.
I haven't talked to him since we messaged recently. He's getting ready to put out some new music. That's been our most recent messages. But yeah,
Cool.
but that's another thing. Like through podcasting, like I do a second podcast, and him and I just connected, and basically we realized after the podcast we talked for like an hour, just shooting the breeze because I don't know if you mentioned, but he's a big comic book nerd and stuff like that. And his agent was on there like, really, what are these guys talking about? We had a blast. So we'll send messages every now and then across Facebook and stuff.
That's cool. Yeah. So what that and we're very much in like a review period of like what Fantasy Turf War did and accomplished the first season and lessons learned and all that stuff, because you have to get that all sorted out so you can get ready for next season, which we haven't technically formally announced yet, but it's probably coming soon. And it's like you're always looking at the things to do better, and that was one of them, is because of some of the logistical challenges. Like you said, we're all separated.
Yeah.
There's people. I think we put out a whole map of all the states that people had covered, and it was quite a bit. And so we're not connected, and for the most part, I don't know any of these teams before this year. I do now, but I didn't before. These are just other people. I don't want to say random because it sounds mean, but
Yeah.
like they're just normal people. And so like hurting that group together, I knew it was going to be a challenge, but it was a little bit tougher than I thought. I think we pulled in Team 64 the day before the first draft.
That was
And
Bevskins. Was that Bevskins?
no, that was the Ren Zone. Bevskins was right before though.
And then I knew he was close because Jacques told me that.
So yeah, so it was like crazy because in perfect world you've got all of your teams are signed up at the same time, and then you do all your interviews, and then you announce them all at the same time. It did not happen any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And so we got behind on the interviews. I have like 20 some interviews that are done that need to just be cut together and put out for approvals and then published, that I literally have not had time to sit down and finish the last 5 to 10% to just get it out there. I'll have time now, but it's just one of those things. It's like I've got to get ahead of that game for next year. So we're definitely like self-aware of like the things that we know we got to get better at, and community is definitely one of those too. And we talked before we hit record, is the idea was always to bring 64 content creators, influencers, brands, businesses, brick and mortars, random people, or whatever it may be, and build a community off of that helps each other grow, or imparts knowledge, or just even encourages each other, and like
Mhm.
just positivity and having fun, right? And like we did it with the football after a couple bumps, but we really felt like we didn't hit the mark on our own in terms of like really pushing the growth on the people and the community front. So that is like primary number one of next year, is like we know the league works. We're not going to make the same decisions that we made at the beginning of last year. We're going to go back to Yahoo. We're going to do it that way to just make sure that that's a solid product. And then we're going to focus on the community aspect. And so that is something I'm really, really excited for, because it was one of the main drivers of doing the whole thing. And that's where I kind of get my tank refilled, or like filling my cup up. And I feel like I just didn't hit the mark. Not to say that we did bad. I mean, I think we just crossed 41,000 views on YouTube alone this last week. So like to go from nothing to I think 160 subscribers and 41,000 views in a year, like that's awesome. Like I don't have any qualms about that at all. Like that's great. And we'll get better. And we just got to continuously improve, and that's all you can ever ask for. So I feel good about it. But
We need
it's
the
been
world to create a site where we can see all 60. I was thinking about that as you're talking. I'm like, I would love to see the other teams. Like, if I could see now who was coming in the playoffs, I could maybe strategize like pickups or that kind of stuff. But there's nothing
so
like that, is there? Really?
I'm not going to announce it yet, but there was an intention from the beginning to leverage our software team to make that possible. We ultimately changed our mind and went a different direction in the beginning of this year. So we're going to maybe not fully next year, but probably in the next couple of years, you're going to see a product like that.
That's cool.
I think the goal for next year is kind of what you're seeing in the playoffs now. And so for the people at home, all the playoff teams were put into a Google sheet, essentially, that was all connected to each other. And so it's all manually manipulated to basically create them a dashboard so that they can see everybody that's doing what across all 8 teams on the same viewer. There's ways to automate it that we're actively looking at. We just got to sit down and do it. And that's just something that we just, going back to the bandwidth thing, like when we started playing catch up, there was just no way that we could. One, you don't want to risk messing up the game. Like you don't want to make the experience worse for you or any of the other teams, because then you don't want to play anymore. And it's fantasy football, probably most fantasy sports. It's like you only really get one shot to not mess that up. Like if you have a bad commish, you're never going to go back to the league. Like
Yeah.
you're never going to trust it. And so if you have a bad experience, you're not likely to come back. And so we have to preserve that experience as much as possible. But if we can get to a viewer where all 64 teams can at least look and see the information, but still play on Yahoo, I think that would be a really good goal for us to get to. And that's something that we've been plotting out for a little while now. So that is the goal.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah, just to be able to know, like, hey, what's coming? Like, if I'm up here and I know it's like the next one, but yeah, sometimes could be us taking the initiative. Be like, hey, owners, you want to be part of the league? Just make sure you keep your team updated. Kind of deal.
Yeah. Yep. And so
That's something.
that's part of the community stuff that we're working on. It's definitely where we think we fell short the most. And there we did keep metrics of all the companies that were part of the league. So everyone has grown throughout the year, whether it's through randomness, their own efforts, or whatever. We don't really have that determination yet because we were only watching. We weren't trying to actually influence in a way outside of the contests, the actual growth. So it's something we're still working on. But the idea of like helping each other grow together as a community is definitely like a focal aspect of it. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
it's
what
fun.
fantasy is, man.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's like you incentivize it with football, right? Like at the end of the day, it's fun. You can win some trophies or a wrestling belt, or and there's a lot of crazy stuff out there, especially these days with the drones and all that stuff. Like sometimes
But
you just need some football.
maybe they're watching our football teams. That's my drone checking out for football scores and getting their
Yeah, right.
sneaky stuff.
Checking over the rankings.
Yeah, checking seeing how Flurry Sports is doing. I was like, man, we discovered prior that the guy that we're playing against is a ranking shark. We're toast.
Yeah, and that's the funny part is, like I'm starting to do a review of all the content. Like I want to go watch kind of the progression of how I like myself grew and like the actual show grew, and the amount of I'm the best fantasy player. Just give me the trophy nows, and like most of them didn't even make the playoffs. So it's always funny.
We said it tongue in cheek because we thought we'd get clobbered. I'll be honest. We're like, we just did this right. Hey, I was like, JJ, Wang, what do you think? He's like, oh, this will be fun. We'll do it. We're not gonna do anything. We're gonna get obliterated, but let's sound confident on our show. That's what you
Right.
got. I mean, if you don't aim to win, why are you like, it's one
Right.
of those
Yeah.
things. Like you aim to win, 63 teams are gonna lose. So
Yeah, and I think when we had done our interview, I'd still been telling everybody in the interviews like I hope you win, and then it dawned on me that I was lying to 63 of you at the end of the year. So I was like, I got to stop saying that.
I always
And
say, I hope you get second place.
yeah,
I always
I
say,
was like,
I hope you get second place in our league this year.
yeah, I was like, I hope you have the season you want to have. Like, I
I
don't
hope I
know.
beat you and I pummel you and I score 3 times as many points as you and I get to wear a cool wrestling belt.
Yeah,
Success.
yeah. So you're gonna have that, and every time you make an appearance on any of those, you should tout that around as like, I got
Oh,
a
it
belt.
might be on my shoulder for about a month and a half or so, or maybe longer because I've always looked at one. I got one for a league one year, but I got off eBay and it was when you make your own. It just fell apart within a
Yeah.
week. I was like, throwing that out.
Oh,
And
these are heavy. I think they're like 8 pounds or something like that is what I was reading. So it's a legit belt, and you're gonna have to
did
lug
you got
that
it from
thing
Trophy Smack?
around.
Those
Trophy
Trophy
smack,
Smack
yeah,
ones? Yeah, I've heard
yeah,
about those. I was like, oh, I'm too cheap and I can't get my league mates to like throw in their money. I'm gonna be like, hey, this is
it
pretty
wasn't
gnarly. Maybe this will
even
convince me.
customized. It wasn't that bad. I mean, it's not nothing, but it wasn't like super duper
Yeah.
crazy. Um, but it's a cool product. I saw a couple of them before, and so I knew when you guys, because you guys voted on that prize as a division. And so like I knew when you guys said you wanted a belt, I was like, cool, that's got to be it. Like that's going to be that trophy. So
That's what, yeah. We were pushing like, come on, and some other people I think is it's like, come on, everybody, let's do it this way. Come on, just praying, please, 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 because that'll be
yep,
the coolest thing to win.
yeah. And then like one of the other divisions, Boba Sensei, Nichelle Halleck, that would be Division 3. Oh man, I forget now. But she when she did her submission video when we were asking for video submissions, she had this giant lion's chain, like this just huge football chain on, And so when they voted on Giant Chain, I was like, I know she influenced this.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's what theirs is. So, but yeah, it's cool stuff. And then if you win the overall championship, you'll get the custom ring, you'll get the belt, and you'll get the overall trophy, which is an even bigger trophy than the belt. So that's pretty cool.
I live in a little house, so that's why we're tanking this week. I don't have any space. My wife says I got too much stuff, so if we lose,
Yeah.
we got a
So
belt. That's why we did it.
so I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but you'll only get to keep it that season. Like so, all
Yeah.
next season you'll get to keep it. So you'll have to hand the belt off if you lose the division again. But should I tell? Yeah, I'll go ahead and tell you. So I hated that idea of like I have to hand over this awesome trophy after a year, and I may very well never see this thing again. And so I was like, well, we can't do that. And so you're going to get a miniature version of the same belt that you'll be able to keep forever. That'll be yours, while the big belt goes on to the next one. So you'll actually be able to keep it on the shelf.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. But I was like, man, if I had a belt, I'd probably be like, I'm never playing again. I'm never answering another one of your emails. I'm not going on
What's
your show.
Fred? Steven?
I was like, yeah, I'm just never coming back. So I was like,
You
no,
just
I
put
can't
an
do
Apple tag
that.
on it. Apple tag all those things quick.
Oh, I've learned I need to air tag some of that stuff. I had some stuff stolen and had to play superhero and find it in the next 24 hours. So was able to
There
do
you
it, but
You
it
can
was
see how much Apple
intense.
stuff I had. I called it an Apple tag.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. Crazy. But I did find my stolen goods and helped a lot of other people find their stolen goods. So it was a crazy 24 hours, but kind of interesting. But yeah. So, but I think I don't know what this week will look like. The projections from yesterday's game, they're not the best, they're not the greatest, but they're not horrible. You're not out of it by any means. So you never know what the weekend will look like. But I genuinely hope you've had fun this season. If nothing else, I said if nothing else, if we made no money, if it was just an utter bleep show, then 64 teams would be thoroughly entertained by the end of the year. So I hope you are one of the 64 teams that were thoroughly entertained. I think we talked a little bit before, but it looks like you may be coming back next year. But not going to force you to make that decision yet if you don't want to.
Oh yeah, I'm not moving anywhere. I have my little shelf with my little trophy. So I got my little bitty belt that'll be on my little shelf. I'll put it right here.
It's not that little. It's like, the big one's a big belt, but the little one, I think it's a youth belt is what it's called. But it looks like
Like those
something
ones
you'd
you
see
buy
at
at Target, like the ones that are like the SmackDown belts.
It's like that
Oh.
kind of size. Or it's
Wow,
not
okay.
nothing.
That's
Small.
what I thought I thought the big belt side was.
Oh no, it's huge. It's like,
So it's like the one you see like on The Rock from like the old WrestleManias kind of thing.
Yep, huge belt. It's going to be over your shoulder kind of thing. It's that one's huge.
I might just walk everywhere I go with that and be like, "What's that?" Hey,
Might
free
well.
promo for you, right?
Yeah, right.
FantasyReport.com.
Yeah, there you go. We're almost done designing it. I'm waiting on one more logo, but I'm gonna put the logo and then the mascots and then a QR code to our website, and then But
That's what I was saying. I was like, we need something in the back of the car, people to zap it. Some stickers.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
I need to put QRs. I have a sticker for our podcast, but I was like, I need to put a QR code. They're like fantasy couriers. What's this junk? Put like
So we've got our business cards. I'll show those. So we got those that I hand out, and those have the little QR codes on the back. Yeah. So yeah, maybe we'll come up with something. I'll mail them out to the league. I got to send you guys. I'm a little bit behind on Christmas cards this year, but I got to send out all the Christmas cards too. So maybe I'll put one in there. So
yeah, ours is we got ours made last year. We were really late, so here is my family. Yeah. Oh no, I'm using a green screen. They're on there. I put the DJ Duff thing in the background, which was fruitless because we're a box. I was like, oh, plus my room's messy, so that's why I do it.
All good. But yeah, so I appreciate you guys taking a risk and having some fun with us this first season. I hope you guys were entertained. Looks like you're pretty well successful. Like if I make the playoffs in any season of any league, I'm calling that a win. So I think you guys can at least call this one a win. You get a nice trophy to show for it. You're gonna have to figure out like the whole custody thing with JJ Wang though. Like, is this like an every other weekend deal, or like how are you guys gonna
It
share that?
works out. He's the pretty face, and I'm the like mule that carries things around. So I'm pretty sure I'll get to sport it. Now
Okay.
I'll get close to sole custody. He might get visitation with observation over the visitation or so. I have a feeling.
Okay. Well, when we part ways, if you don't win it again next year, then we'll make sure that you guys get separate ones so that you guys don't have to share it for forever. So you guys will actually get that. So
Yeah, we
we'll make
literally
sure.
see each other like once, maybe twice in person a year.
Yeah. So
That's
we'll
what
have to make sure that we
the
do it that
podcast
way.
keeps us.
That's cool. It's cool that you guys do it. Like like I said, you guys talk and you guys try and stay connected anyways. All you're doing is hitting a record button and putting it out there. You know, like it's such a natural thing, and it's a great and brilliant idea. Like, why not?
Yeah.
So
And that's, I mean, we hung out in high school and then went our separate ways for about a decade or so. And just sort of, he started doing fantasy and we got together. And booyah.
it's cool stuff. Yeah, that's awesome stories, and we'll hopefully make some new stories next year. So I look forward to having you, and again, I'm getting goosebumps, and I'm probably going to tear up in a minute. But like it's a first year on a new product, and so you guys taking a risk on us and having some fun with it. We had no product to show you, and trying to convince people to join a 64 team fantasy football league. And the first question is, how many players are on your team, and like how does that even work? And like you guys all taking a chance on more or less a conversation in a slide deck. Like I can't tell you guys and the whole audience like how much we actually appreciate like you guys doing that and coming along for the ride, because it's been a lot of fun, and there's been some bumps. There's always going to be bumps, but it's been so much fun, and I'm really glad you guys are a part of it. So,
No, thanks for having us. We had a blast. I mean, we're simple.
yeah,
We're going to be the least of your problems you ever have.
I say just give you the belt, and there's no problems, right?
Just tell me we're playing fantasy football, and that's simple for us.
That is one of the funniest things, though. Like, just um, in the application process of getting teams, the amount of times I had to explain that this is American football and not soccer. I did not expect to have to do that. I was like, I didn't even realize fantasy soccer was a thing. I mean, I'm sure, why not? It should be.
You score like 3 points a week. So if you score 5, you're winning. It's great. It's a kick. Every time you kick the ball, you get half a point. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start. I kind of pushed myself to learn fantasy baseball next year with Matt, with our co-host Matt. So I'm gonna give that a whirl. But
you play roto or head to head?
I have no idea. I'm just he's in off-season mode, and I was like, look, like let's make it a thing. I played once, and it was like an auto draft thing. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I stopped playing halfway through because I wasn't invested. I didn't know anybody else in the league, so there was no buy-in. But I was like, let's make it a thing. Like take your guy from couch potato to fantasy baseball expert, and like use that as content for yourself, and then I'll just be the benefactor so that I know how to play at the end of the day.
It's grueling. That's the catch. Like I said, I've won a bunch of fantasy leagues because all my buddies are football guys. If you just play through the whole season, they'll give up in like August, and then
like my Cubs.
Yeah, I'm a Guardians fan. I don't want to hear it. It's still too soon. But and I also learned I'm a math guy, and that's all fantasy baseball is. Like I'll hear these guys. I'm like, I don't know who in the world this guy is, but I know that this week he played really good and he's trending up. So I'm going to follow him for a while, and that's like I learned. That's how I would learn some baseball, because if you're a fan, like your Cubbies.
Yeah.
I know my Guardian guys, and well, for at least 2 years till they become Yankees. But I keep up with them for the most part. But then knowing all the other guys are not like, I don't know that. Then I just keep an eye on a name popping up. Like, he started good. He started popping in. It's really a stat game. Like math heads probably are really good at that in basketball versus football, which doesn't have that like constant.
Yeah.
Like you can know numbers for football, and some of it's just like, my guy didn't get hit in the knee this week, or his Tua didn't hit his head or something ridiculous. It's really some of the football is dumb luck because the injuries are just so catastrophic. Baseball, you just got to follow their curves.
Hmm.
Like they're going to be hot. You got to know if it's all season, you don't want to dump a guy too quick. If it's head to head, it's different. But if you play roto, which is all season, I've done that in football. A guy's going to go up, he's going to go down. You can't hit 500 for an entire year. You're going
Okay.
to hit 200. You're going to hit 500 for and it's a
Right.
different
Yeah.
kind of a
When
thought
you
pattern.
guys.
I can give up on it. I gave up on some guys in football because they had
Yeah.
the third Sean Tucker for the Bucks had that good week, and then you're like, okay, they're both back. He's toast.
Yeah.
In baseball, you would sort of hold him, and he might bounce because you
Hmm.
play 162 games versus 16, and it's a
Sounds like I
different
might be
strategy.
talking you into some fantasy baseball too.
This year I didn't play. This was one of my years. I used to do it just to have something to do in the off season. And this year, because I'm pulling teeth to get guys to join fantasy baseball. Most of my friends are football fans, and baseball sort of
Hmm.
sometimes they cut off their own nose. I think as a sport. And I was reading an article that they might be striking in a year because of teams like my Guardians who are at 47 million, or the Dodgers who are
Yeah.
paying Otani until we're dead. So it's just there's no I love about football. There's the joy. You know that the Panthers but they could be good next year.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, they very well could. I
And
mean,
I thought they would be better this year.
yeah, they say
Um,
they should have been better this year,
mhm.
but it's just one of those luck things. You just never know.
Yeah, but in baseball, the Yankees are going to almost always be able to go to the playoffs because they
Yeah.
have the money. You know
Yep.
that my team's got to have great pitching. The Cubs, when they were good, they were paying some people. The Nationals around here, they got some core, but then they paid all their pitchers. Their pitchers, except for Strasburg, when they won the series, were all bought arms, and they paid a ton of money. Football
Yeah.
can't do that. You
Yeah.
pay
And then the
CeeDee
Cubs
Lamb and
made it
Dak.
clear that was their plan is they were going to pay a bunch of money,
Mhm.
basically as much as they needed to at
Break
least
through.
make the playoffs and World Series, and they got close the first year, and then the second year they did it, and so it's
Yeah, it's a different
different kind of
sport.
sport for sure.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
But that's why we love football. That's why I love football, and football's God for the time being. It's because you never you might be mad at your team. Like right now, I'm not happy with my Dolphins, but I and just stupid stuff. But or injuries, or but that there's a possibility, not in my lifetime apparently, but that next year that something falls their way because they're not on an unfair play. They're on the same ground as the Panthers, the Patriots were, all those teams that they could have a good year next year because
Yeah.
what 4 teams out of 6 teams are usually new in the playoffs or something ridiculous like a 3 or 4, it's something like that out of 7 now, I guess. But it's a better playing field.
Yeah. It's a good sport. It's a good thing to follow along with, and look, it's a good break from all the other craziness in the world. So, being
100%.
able to play a fantasy game to parallel with the actual sport is even better. So it's good stuff. I might have a spot for you in a fantasy baseball league if you're interested. I know a guy who's running a fantasy baseball show, so he has a league.
How many Guardians can I have on my team?
Yeah. Oh, great! We're gonna do that again.
I'm that guy. I did that one year. My team was done, and I was like, I'm just gonna get every guy that's on free agency just to roto throughout the year, and it made a little bounce. It was
Nice.
fun.
Jeez.
But no,
Ah,
I play it. It's a stat line. Like you just look and see, and you can funnel thing.
yeah.
I'd be intrigued. Give
Yeah.
me,
I'll let you know if I can. I gotta get myself in first, and then there should be 2 spots, but I'll talk to him, and I'll be in touch with that. So
it'll be the day of, and somebody will do it. It made me think when you said that happened. I do a live auction draft. I don't know if you've said you've ever done that,
yeah, I've done one. It takes a while.
and a dude literally never told us he wasn't coming. So we were at live auction draft that afternoon. It was 4 o'clock on a Saturday. This dude's not answering his phone and nothing. We're trying to live auction draft, which is impossible with an odd number of people. Like you can't. It's not like you can auto draft somebody.
Right.
Luckily, my buddy, I kind of was like, "Hey, can you just throw us a bone and just get on your computer and just draft?" And he was in the league a couple years after that. Now he's, but it was like, man, that people are just like, man, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to be there, and
Yeah.
barring, like something terrible happens, it's not going to be, oh yeah, I forgot. But a lot of people do float on that, Oh, yeah, there's good.
And it did happen. It happened for us. We had 3 teams, and we made it wildly public. There you go. I do talk for a living. And yeah, 3 teams. One had already even drafted and just stopped. And yeah, it happens no matter whether it's your family league or your friends league. It always happens. So like it wasn't some crazy risk that we weren't aware of, but still had to work through it, and we did. And two of the teams, well, actually one of them almost made the playoffs.
So
Two of the teams were pretty competitive once they picked up.
the one in my league stunk.
The one in your league lost the division. So to be fair, it was not a very good team.
Yeah, I didn't look too deep as I pulled it back up here.
Yeah, so they're already invited back for next year so that they can kind of defend their honor from the pieces that they were given. So yeah, that's it's like that. I don't want your one shot in social media fantasy football to be inheriting a team that's been inactive for 3 weeks. So can't do that.
Yeah, look, I mean, on the grand scheme, the team's not. They just that's right. They didn't submit a lineup. That's what it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had the first 3 weeks they were not submitting lineups.
Yeah,
and with
yeah,
the old
like
old
Jared Goff,
owner. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
when those old owners went inactive, that's when we switched them out with the people that have them now. So.
Yeah, I remember that.
Trying not to. I was like, man, do I put it on social media or do I just move on? And then there was some internal pressure from the league, and I was like, well, we can have some fun with it. Like, I'm not gonna be a jerk about it. Like, you never want to be a jerk, but yeah, I was like, all right, let's put it out there and make it like we're trying to reach you about your extended car warranty kind of thing, but we'll have some fun. So luckily it was not even 24 hours later they were all placed. So good times.
Sorry, you can't join the free league where you make no money and pay no money and you get to play fantasy football.
Yeah, right.
You're embarrassed in a make-believe world of social media.
Yeah. So, all right. Where can people find you?
Hey, I got a website started. Just check out the Fantasy Couriers podcast. We stream wherever you stream. Our YouTube's hit or miss. It's not been. We put more work on the podcast side, which apparently I'm learning is the terrible model. But a lot of it's more through Apple Podcasts is our biggest hit. I do have a website where I keep my rankings on it. fantasycouriers.com. Keep stuff on there on the off season. If I do an article, I'll just put a link to that up there and probably look a little more into it as the new year and things start to slow down.
Okay.
We'll see. But yeah, so fantasycouriers.com or anywhere you hear podcast or watch podcasts, you'll see our handsome faces. We show up there. So, and on Fantasy Turf War championship show in a couple weeks.
Look, if you win, I'll bring you back next week. But no, look, sincerely, Adam, it's been an awesome having you guys in the league. It's been nothing but fun. You guys have been good sports. It was hilarious the first interview that we had. Got a lot of positive reviews out of that, and you guys have been fun. And I'm glad, hopefully you guys come back next year, and I hope you guys do win, at least this week, get yourself to a championship, and then at least you get a 50-50 shot, Yeah. But if not, you already got the belt, and you got some honor to defend there. So it's good times. But we'll make sure we put all the links in the show notes too. And then we were talking about how we might be able to integrate your rankings from Fantasy Pros into our product next year. So might have some work there to do, and then yeah. Might be handing off some trophies in person if you guys need a national anthem singer. Just saying.
I'll be texting Jacques pretty soon.
I gotta get him. He's got a trophy too, so I gotta get that squared away. So, but all right, man, it's been fun. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and I hope you guys have a good winter break and get to relax a little bit on the downtime before the logistical nightmare continues. So.
Yeah.
Have fun, and Merry Christmas again too, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Alrighty, bye.